In class earlier today, we went over briefly using a skill called cross multiplying to be able to solve for an unknown quantity in a proportion. The proportion I had in class set up was 3 over 6 is equal to 5 over x. In class, I said a quick way to solve for this would be to multiply, so to cross multiply. So multiply the top number here with the bottom number on the right side, and then vice versa. Once you multiply them, you're left with 3x is equal to 30, because 6 times 5 is 30. And from there, we simply solve it like it's a one-step equation where we divide both sides by 3 to isolate the variable, and we were left with x is equal to 10. All right. This video is going to show us why we can cross multiply, why it still works without breaking any of our mathematical rules that we establish when we focus so much on solving equations. So I'm going to keep this over here. Again, our goal is to get it so that 3x is equal to 30 and x is equal to 10. So let's rewrite this proportion out. Again, our proportion was that 3 over 6, or the proportion 3 to 6, is equal to 5 to some number. Or 3/6 is equal to 5 over x. Now, if we were to just solve this out like a multi-step equation, our goal would be to get the x by itself. Also, another goal, we do not want x as a denominator. If we were looking at these two as fractions, as 3/6 is equal to 5x, 5 over x, we don't ever want our x as a denominator. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x first. When I do that, if I'm multiplying by x on the right and dividing by x on the left, that simply simplifies out or cancels out to 1. So we're going to be left with 5 on the right side. On the left side, when I'm multiplying a number times a fraction, that number just gets multiplied by the numerator of the fraction. So I'm now left with 3x divided by 6 is equal to 5. There are two things I can do from here. If we're really confident in our fractions, we can multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 3/6, which is 6 over 3. All right, so that's what we can do, again, if we're really confident in our working with fractions and multiplying and dividing our fractions. If you're not feeling so confident, then you can do this in 2 steps and still get the same answer. We're going to first multiply both sides by 6 so that we can get rid of the 3x being divided by 6. So multiplying both sides by 6. Remember, when I put a parentheses and then next to a number, it means that I'm multiplying those two numbers together. 5 times 6 is equal to 30 on my right side. And if I'm multiplying by 6 on the left, and then I'm dividing by 6 also on the left, that's going to equal 1. So that's going to cancel that out, and I'm left with 3x on the left side. And now look, we have 3x equals 30, which is exactly what we had when we cross multiplied. We got to 3x equals 30. So we've already divided this out, and we know that when we divide 3x by 3 and 30 by 3, we're left with x is equal to 10. So that shows us that we can either do it out the long way, like so, or we can cross multiply, and it gets us to the same answer. Let's do another example where x is in the numerator position of the proportion. Let's say we have another proportion where we say that 4/8 is equal to x over, let's use the number 20. All right. If we follow our new method with cross multiplication, Cross multiplying 4 and 20 to get 4 times 20, which is 80. And we're going to set that equal to whatever 8 times x is equal to, which we can write as 8x. We're going to divide both sides by 8 to isolate the variable x, and we're left with 10. X is equal to 10. All right, let's see what happens if we do this same problem out, but instead of using cross multiplication, we just solve it like a multi-step equation. So our problem was 4 over 8 is equal to x over 20. This one's going to be a little easier, in my opinion, because our x is already in the numerator position. So to isolate it, we simply have to get rid of this divided by 20. This is saying x divided by 20 is equal to 4 divided by 8. So we're going to multiply both sides by 20. Because we're undoing this division by multiplying both sides by the same number. This is going to leave us with x on the right side and 20 times 4 divided by 8 on the left side. 20 times 4 is equal to 80 divided by 8. And we know that 80 divided by 8 is equal to 10. So again, x is equal to 10. Notice how we have the same answer. We did cross multiplication originally, and then we showed why the cross multiplication still works. My last bit of advice when working with proportions and fractions, and it's something that you've heard before. Before we even set up any of our proportions, or before we even attempt to solve any proportions, let's give this a little more room over here. We had 4 over 8 was equal to x over 20. And this is why, hopefully you guys watched the Ed puzzle from over vacation. We can simplify this fraction 4/8. To simplify this fraction, we need to find a number, or we need to find the greatest common factor of 4 and 8, of both the numerator and the denominator. In this case, that number is 4. We can do 4 divided by 4, and that equals 1. And 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. So 4/8 simplifies to 1 over 2, or 4/8 simplifies to 1/2. So the ratio 4 to 8 is equivalent to the ratio 1 to 2. So we can replace that in our problem. Instead of having to deal with 4/8 is equal to x over 20, we can easily write that as 1/2 is equal to x over 20. And that gives us some easier numbers to work with when we either choose to cross multiply or we choose to do this out the longer way. Let's cross multiply it anyway. We're left with 2x is equal to 1 times 20, which is 20. When we divide both sides by 2, x is still equal to 10. All right, class. Hopefully this video helps get rid of any confusion about how cross multiplication works when we're dealing with proportions and trying to solve for unknown quantities in proportions. Thank you.